Hello, welcome back once again. For those that return to my videos and put up the rambling nature of most of my videos here. Today, I'm going to finish up the last entry here in my series of the degenerate descendants of the progenitor humans known as the Aslanti. This one is going to be the Morlock. As featured previously in the other videos, I went over my take on the pureblood Aslanti. I started up a Dark Folk and the Grimlock, which is not available in the Pathfinder world. They chose to go with the Morlock, so to not disregard them, since they are mentioned as a degenerate human long lost from the world of light, regress through the years of subterranean dwelling into ravenous, barely thinking beasts of the endless night. Here is a picture of them. Based on their stature, the stooped-like frame, it would suggest that they're small, but they're indeed medium size. They're known to move about on two legs at times, but often drop down to a creepy forward-legged shuffle when implying stealth and speed. So, to go over this in sort of a PC race, as always, I refer to the Advanced Race Guide with the Race Builder section in the back as a semblance of balance when creating these races for player characters. So to hit it off right now, type for the Morlock. Monstrous Humanoid, it's 3 racial points. With Monstrous Humanoid, whenever you select that type, you get Darkvision with no weighted cost, out to 60 feet. So we have that given right there. Size, medium, 0 racial points. Base speed, I went with normal speed for the moment, which gives you 30 feet, but their bestiary stats show that they have 40 feet. So if you want, you can add the fast quality for movement racial traits, and increase that by 10 feet for a total of 40 feet for the speed if you want. Just depends on what your version of the Morlock qualities are. Ability score modifiers, I went with something similar to the Grimlock, since they share a lot of the same sort of degenerative sort of subterranean progression here, with a few slight differences here. Weakness is the one I went with for -3 for the racial point cost. So that gives them a +2 to Dex, -2 to Intelligence, and a -4 to Charisma. Looking over their statistics in the bestiary, the highest attribute I see on here is Dex. Intelligence and Charisma suffer. So that's where I went with the pluses and minuses for that, based on that information there. Languages, they can only speak Undercommon. So that suggests to me that it's a xenophobic language quality, so 0 racial points. Otherwise, if you want them to have more of a social capability, you can always go with the standard, which doesn't cost anything additional. So you can choose whether you want it to be xenophobic or standard. I'm going to go with xenophobic, just due to what's in here in the entry for their sort of like ecology here. Listen how they're ravenous, rambling, chaotic, like barely thinking beasts. Those are some pretty good descriptors there to decide what your traits would be. Racial traits with offensive racial traits, similar to the rat folk. They do have the swarming capability. So let's say you have another player who chooses to be a Morlock as well, or an NPC who happens to be a Morlock, depending on your campaign, your game world, what your players select. Those 2 Morlock characters, could benefit from taking the same space. Exactly what is presented for the rat folk swarming entry there. So that's 2 racial points. Based on it's a CR2 creature, I thought I wouldn't have to make so many homebrew modifications like I did with the Grimlock. But nevertheless, I had to do a few homebrew modifications to this. Within the offense racial traits, I had to add leap attack. It's kind of similar to the powerful charge offense racial trait there. So I homebrewed it for the same kind of costs, 2 racial points. So it's something you utilize during a charge. So that's what I went with. Weakness racial traits, of course, subterranean. Most subterranean races, they do have a affliction to exposure to light. So with this one I went with light blindness for -2 racial points. On to movement racial traits. In their entry it does listed a climb. But when you choose climb, it's out to 20 feet. There's no mention of increasing that at all. Whether you want to determine by adding fast on there for your movement, whether that will up it up a notch by 10 extra feet, giving you a total of 30. So you have that alternative there, depending on what you choose to go with. There's one other thing I listed in here, another trait under the movement racial traits, but I'm going to skip that for a moment, and those reasons will be forthcoming here. On to senses racial traits. They already have Darkvision. There's no additive cost to that, based upon their Monstrous Humanoid type. Yet, in the Bestiary version here, their Darkvision is out to 120 feet. So, to get that, normally in a race builder it's 3 points, but you already get the 2 points for free for having out to 60, so just up the cost by 1. That way you're only spending 1 point, and you can get double that Darkvision length there, so 120 feet. So that's a homebrew modification I did there. Not really much of a modification there, since that's already listed in the book. Now we went with, also for sense racial traits, scent. They do have scent, quite similar to the Grimlock, for 4 racial points. And I'll get back to scent here in a moment. Now defense racial traits. Not as tough of a hide as I previously shown with the Grimlock. So instead of spending 3 points for a +2 bonus to your natural armor, I went with just 2 points for natural armor, to where it's just a +1 increase to your natural armor for AC. So you have that. Immunities, I didn't really see anything in there that shown just poison and disease. I saw disease and then a few other listings in there. So I went with a cost of 2 to include immunities of poison plus disease. A lot of the other immunities I saw in there, they listed 1 extra one, so I don't think placing the cost for that 2 is gonna unbalance that at all. So homebrew version for immunities, poison, disease, 2 racial point costs there. That pretty much does it, except I'm leaving out one thing. I didn't want to blow up this PC race build here too much with the racial points. I had to make a modification in this, which I'll discuss now. As I mentioned, they have scent for 4 racial points. What's listed in the Bestiary, though, is that they have the ability to be an expert climber, where they can cling to the walls and ceilings, similar to the spider climb spell. Well, that is in the race builder section, but it's only listed for the monster tier part of it. Right now, what's listed for their racial point cost, it's in the advanced category for the race build. I can't select the monstrous trait there for expert climber. So what I did was, you can swap out scent. If you don't want scent, then you can go with expert climber. That way I'm not sort of tampering with the rules there for the race builder section. Really swapping it out as a alternate racial trait. So they're always going to have scent, but if you want to utilize the Expert Climber special ability, it's the same point cost, just swap it out with Scent. Present it as a alternate racial trait. So that's all I got. Just a few homebrew modifications, but I kept it in the same fashion and sort of balanced sense that the race builder presents. So based on this, the total racial point cost for the Morlock will be 13 racial points. If you decide to have Scent and Expert Climber on there together, then you're looking at 17. So it just depends on what you're comfortable with. I kind of wanted to keep it at 13, so I chose the Expert Climber as an alternate election there, just so that it's within range of the Grimlock and the Dark Folk. So those are all around the same racial point build there, and then the Pure Blood Aslanti is just slightly higher, maybe to showcase that they haven't been too degenerative compared to the monstrous ones that are available as a Darklands race. So that's all I got. Let me know if you have any comments, suggestions, whatever. I'm not too keen on criticisms right now. Been receiving a few lately. The information I provide is advice. It's free information. But the criticisms lately is that there's a lot of judgment based upon how I present it to you. I take what you want from this. Hope it helps you out, but I'm not gonna modify what needs to be shown just for the sake of it being free, and I don't need any. I don't need to be subjugated to that. So you don't have to look at this channel. You can bypass it. This is all here for those that have trouble with race builds, have questions. Maybe they're curious about their own one and just want to compare it to what they have. So that's all this is here for. So take what you will, but don't tell me how to present it. So until next time, see ya.